Alright class, this is the second video I promised you under Kingdom Plantae. The first video we did, I explained the three divisions under Kingdom Plantae: the division the division Bryophyta and division Talophyta. Now, the third one is the Tracheophyta, which will be the focus of our discussion in this episode. Now, the behavioral objective of our discussion is that at the end of this lesson, you should be able to mention the three divisions under Tracheophyta, and then two divisions under Pteridophyta, and then two divisions under Spermatophyta. And you should be able to list the characteristics of these divisions, and then you should be able to also explain what it means by alternation of generation in this phylum, Tracheophyta. And then you should be able to differentiate between the class dicot and then the class monocot plants. Now, Tracheophyta simply means plants with a vascular bundle. The vascular bundle here refers to the vessels in which liquid or minerals are transported from one part of the body to the other part of the body in plant, just like blood vessels in the human. Now, Tracheophyta has two phyla, which are the Pteridophyta and Spermatophyta. Let's look at the Pteridophyta. A good example of Pteridophyta or representative organism of a Pteridophyta is the fan plant. Fan plant is a simple plant that is made up of two layers of cells. They are regarded as a tissue form or form of plant. It is actually the whole of this organism here is the fan. The fan has a rhizoid that looks like a roots, and it also have the leaf, which is called the blade, and it has a stem known as a stipe, and then it has some little leaves that bear the sex organ actually. Now, the tiny leaves here is regarded as pinnules, and then the stem that holds the pinnules is the pinna rachis. Then the whole of this leaf here, from here to this place, is the pinna itself. This is the young fan having a coiled leaf. It's not yet matured yet, and so everything is still folded inside the plant. Now, as we said that the plant has alternation of generation, that is the means by which it reproduces itself. It has two generations. It has the gametophyte generation and it has a spermatophyte generation. At the gametophyte generation, the plant produces male sex organ and also female sex organ, just like a flower in plants. Now, at this generation, the male sex organ produce the sperm, which is known as antheridium, and then the female produce the egg cells, and when fused together or fertilized, it produces a zygote, which is now diploid organism. So once it is matured, it gives rise to the sporophyte. That's the whole plant here. Now the sporophyte will produce spore in its generation. That is, this is the method of its reproduction. Now it has turned to a sexual means, a method of reproduction. So it will produce spores. So the spores can germinate into male plants, and it can also germinate into female plant depending on the genetic makeup of the spores. Now let's look at the characteristics of these plants, pteridophyta. Pteridophyta are usually multicellular organism, and they're made up of consist of vascular green plants. They are non-flowering plants, means they don't produce flower, and then they have true roots, and they actually don't have true roots and the leaf. Then they are mainly terrestrial plants, while few are aquatic plants. Some of them are non-seed producing plants, others produce seed. Now some are sexually reproductive, others are asexually reproductive. Now the spermatophytes has seed producing plants. They are members of plants that produce seeds. They produce flower as well. Let's look at the characteristics of spermatophytes. Spermatophyte includes are made up of plants that are regarded as multicellular, and they produce seeds. They also have vascular bundles. They have true roots and stem and leaf. They reproduce sexually, that is using the two gametes. Then they are mainly terrestrial, that is most of them are found on the land, but few are in water. A spermatophyte has two divisions, which are the gymnosperm and the angiosperm. But let's look at the characteristics of gymnosperm. What are gymnosperm? This picture represents gymnosperm plants. They are actually plants that does not produce fruit. They produce seed, but their seeds are naked, which means open seed plant. That's the meaning of gymnosperm. Now the characteristics of gymnosperm includes that these plants have naked seeds. They also bear flowers. They don't bear flowers, rather they don't bear flowers like spermatophytes. Some plant, their seeds are born on corn. Those are this shape is a corn. So each of these sections here is a seed, and a good example of it is the pine trees. These are the pine trees, the cycas, the gingos, the conif plants. This refers to as the gymnosperm plants. The angiosperm plants they produce flower actually, and their seeds are enclosed in a fruit. They have a fleshy parts of the seed, of their fruits, which they use to protect their seeds, and also they produce flower. The member of this class angiosperm are the grass family, rice, and then we have the mango trees, the guava tree, the cashew tree, all forms of trees that produce flowers, and also having their seed enclosed in a fleshy body. Now let's look at the characteristics of this animal, these plants rather. They are complex green flowering plants, unlike the pteridophytes, which are simple and they don't have body parts, distinct body parts. They are also bear flowers. They also bear seed, and their seeds are enclosed in their fruits. We have two divisions under angiosperm. These divisions are called the dicot and then the monocot. This is a good example of monocot. A good example of monocot is a grass or a rice or elephant grass. And then a good example of dicot are mango trees and other trees, beans, soya beans, and so on and so forth. Now let's look at the difference between monocot and dicot. Monocot has a seed leaf, has only one seed leaf. That's the meaning of monocot, one cotyle, one leaf. Then the dicot has two leaf in the seed. It has two leaf seed. Then if you look at the arrangement of the floral parts, the floral parts in monocot has just three petals or sepals, as the case may be. But in dicot, the sepals are made up of like 4 or 5, depending on the species of that flower. If you look at the leaf, the veins on the leaf in monocot are usually parallel, that is just like a line, parallel line that never meets. But anyway, they meet somewhere at the tip here, but actually they look like a parallel lines that never meet, so their venation is parallel. But in dicot, their veins are in net-like or in network form. You can see different veins, branches connecting at each other, forming a kind of a net. Then we have the pollen grain has only one spore in monocot, but in dicot the spores is about 3 or more, as the case might be. Then looking at the stem in monocot has a scattered kind of a vascular bundle. The vascular bundles are scattered everywhere without a regular pattern. It has an irregular form of vascular arrangement of vascular bundle. But in dicot, the vascular bundles are arranged in a circular form in a regular pattern. These are more at the properties of angiosperm, and the difference between dicot or dicotyledonous plants and monocotyledonous plants. Generally, let's look at the characteristics of dicot plants. Number one, they bear seed, which have 2 seed leaves, as I've explained earlier, and also they have a vascular bundle that has a regular arrangement of the bundles in the stem, and the flower parts exist in a group of 4 or group of 5, and then it has leaf that it veins, that has its vein in form of network, and then they have tap roots that goes down deeper into the soil, unlike the grasses that has the fibrous roots that is on the surface of the soil. Most of them are annual plants except palm tree. Palm tree is regarded as a monocot plant because of the arrangement of the veins on the leaf.